I am going to start recording this now. I paused it because you weren't here and I forgot to record it again.
No,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
So to recap real fast.
Yeah.
So just started, your business goes to getting more restaurants and you're working with the living assistance home who has 7 locations.
Independent living.
Independent living. Okay.
Yeah.
Independent living store places they're trying to get into. Hopefully 7 of them because they run them. So that'd be awesome. Challenges is just finding time to follow up and to get to the restaurants and make appointments, right?
Well, the goal would be to get my able to pay my wife to work it full time. That's
Okay.
the ultimate
That's the
goal
ultimate
right
goal.
now. And then, well, in short term, long term is because I told my wife, I said we could do this when we're getting close to retiring. If we stick with this, because there's going to be a ton of people come and go in this industry.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I mean, I already bought one guy's supplies out because he was done last year. You know,
Yeah.
so it's going to be waiting it out because I mean, let me ask you that though, because I see a lot of people starting up. You know, there's still a lot of people starting up these microgreens. You know, and I'm like, my God, you don't think the market's going to get flooded with this?
It depends on your size of your market. Honestly, like I don't think it's every business is going to have people pop up and go away.
Oh yeah.
It's the people that stay and grind it out and do the long term growth of it because this isn't a short term growth business. They are all starting up because there's people online telling them, you can make $10,000 in 30 days,
Right.
and then they give it 3 months and they're like, I made $1,000, I'm done. Anybody want my stuff? So you're gonna have that. So the best part about that is we get to buy stuff really cheap and not have to buy retail prices. So
yeah.
We bought out 3 farms. We're looking for another one right now in Chicago that we're going to buy their stuff. I think they only have like 2 racks and 300 trays or something like that. So they would never even got real big. But so we'll be doing that as well. So there's going to be that. There's going to be more of it this because it's a cheap entry point business, really. So people are going to see that and try to do it because you can start for $1,000. You really can, and that's a really nice setup for $1,000. So that's reachable for most people. So you're going to see that, but then they figure out, as you have already figured out, the hard work of it. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not just going to be happening magically just because you grew it. Everybody's going to want to buy it. It's just not the way it is.
Well, that's correct. And I just had this conversation with another vendor the other night, and he was asking me about the greens and growing them, and I was like, hey, because they do chips and salsa. They make their own salsa and make their own chips.
Nice.
And I said, I grow this stuff every week. He goes, he thought I cut it and it grew back.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. I said, I got next week's stuff already planted. I said, this is like it is a sacrifice for us here. Yeah. You and your wife you're fortunate enough to do it full time, right?
Yeah, we are now.
Correct?
We didn't. 6 months in, we did.
Right. Okay. And how it's good for you guys? It's going good.
Living good. Can't complain.
That's awesome.
That's
so awesome.
We've doubled our business every year.
So, that's great.
Yeah. Now the chore is to double it again because that's a big number next year. So numbers are getting larger, which is a good thing.
Well, then you're going to have to really have some employees.
We have 2 right now.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's the one thing I don't want.
But we're trying to do some automation-ish stuff to lessen the number of people you need.
How's your seed thing, by the way?
We planted with it today. Just got done.
Yeah.
Before I got on here.
Yeah. But how do you do it with wet seeds, though?
You got to let them dry a little bit. Yeah. We did it. We probably did it a little early with wheatgrass yesterday. We planted wheatgrass and got to the bottom of the bucket after drying, letting them dry for a couple hours, but the bottom of the bucket was still a little wet. So we got to get a strainer thing because it did get jammed a little bit towards the end. But
Mike, I'll tell you right now, I don't soak my wheatgrass seeds. I plant wheatgrass dry. I stopped soaking them And I told this to Greener Harvest Seed. I said, yeah, I know you know Andy. I didn't know you guys like had a history like you
Yeah,
for a couple of years.
yeah, yeah.
And I always say to him, no soak wheatgrass. Yeah, my wife could tell you, and it grows
How long
fine.
does it take you to grow it?
Uh, same 8 9 days. I'm good harvesting.
I planted on Thursday. We delivered to grocery stores on Tuesday.
What that? Well, that's even faster. You
Yeah,
get
by
that's
soaking.
nice. Well, I was soaking. I don't
Yeah.
see any. I used to
Oh,
soak,
really?
and I don't see any real difference
Hmm.
in it.
I'll tell you what.
In my
I'm
time,
gonna do a test. I'm gonna dry seed one today.
try it,
Yeah.
try it. Well, that's what I did. I was like, because I was tired of, how when you're laying them all out in the thing and they're all wet, and I said I'm gonna try. So I soaked the soil a decent amount, and then when I lay the seeds on, I put water on them, obviously,
Yeah.
and then I stack them and I leave them until they germinate. In about 2 3 days, they're ready to come into the light, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Ready to go. So
I'll try it.
try it,
I'll try it.
try it.
I'm always
It
experimenting. I'm always willing to experiment.
just like it's just like arugula. I stack arugula. I don't,
I do too.
and and
I
I learned that by mistake.
I
So
stack arugula. I by experimenting. I think it does better.
and there's no issue with
I don't black it out at all anymore. No
I
blackout.
hardly black out anything
Yeah,
anymore.
it's not neat.
So
If you watch our
no,
arugula grow along, which is in the classroom, you have access to it. I did
yeah,
one
I
blackout.
watched the one. I
I did
watched the
one
one. I
blackout,
gotta get
one
back.
non-blackout, and the quality looks so much better with the
R-
non-blackout.
Really?
Yeah, but cotyledons are bigger. It's greener. Yeah, and that was just one
And
day
then,
blackout. It just didn't look as good.
and I'll tell you the other thing I just tried. I just tried a jute mat, and I did it with red acre cabbage. And I don't know if I'm crazy or not, but the color out of the jute mat is beautiful
Hmm.
compared to out of the soil. Like I mean, it's real intense red. I was like, I don't know why that would be, but
Yeah,
you
that
know,
seems strange.
I,
It's kind of
I
backwards.
yeah, it's and then so when I first did it, I did go because I was worried. I only did water, but I did go buy some of that ocean solution, and I put a little bit of that in. But I don't know if that's the reason, but
Yeah,
before
yeah, you need to have that with the jute mat. You got to have some nutrients because it's inert. It doesn't have anything in it. So
right. And the one thing is, it seems to be a longer grow though.
yeah,
That's but the color. I'll have to send you a picture, after this. But anyway,
yeah, was trying to partner with somebody who was doing a growing series where he did a tray away thing, and he was using mats to teach everybody, and like we were getting like 3 ounces off of a tray. I was like, wow, this is not good. Who's gonna grow this way? You can't grow a business like this.
yeah,
So, but anyway, all right. So I think we recapped enough to cover
yeah.
the stuff that we didn't record. So apologize about that. Um, challenges. Did that. So, well, is there any areas of focus like budgeting, pricing, sales, marketing, expanding
So,
product offerings I can help you with?
well, budgeting and pricing, and I mean, I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you right now. I definitely don't. That is an area of weakness, and it's just my wife and I trying to find the time to do it, which I know we do. Is record keeping of our stuff. Like I can go on, I can see how much I bought. I know how much I spent.
Yeah.
I couldn't exactly tell you how
Stop.
much a tray cost me right now. I'd have to sit down and figure it out. So I'm kind of like with that stuff, we're flying by the seat of our pants here. And so that's the business side of things that we really have to start focusing on.
Yeah. You need to
So
know if you're making money or not, and how much money you're making.
right.
Yes.
And
Have you seen our budgeting spreadsheet, pricing spreadsheets too?
you know what? I think when I first joined the group, I opened it up. It's like anything with me. I open up, I start getting into it, and then I don't have time, and then I forget to go back to it. And you know what? I do have to sit down with my wife and take a look at it.
Yes, I
So
would. recommend that.
Because I know it's good information. You got a lot of good
Well,
information.
thank you. So it is in, just to let you know where it's at. So it's in under resources, and then there's a price calculation sheet, pricing and cost calculation sheet underneath spreadsheets in there.
Okay.
If you want to go look at it, there's a video how to use it and all that stuff as well too.
All right.
Because we need to know, you're making money, but let's find out how much money you're making per product.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's still, even for us, I mean, I'm still supplementing my business, like certain things, which I know I shouldn't. Well, I think I brought this up once before about because my business owes me a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I got to figure, for next year, when we do our taxes, we didn't make any money. If you go by, and that's the other thing, tracking our losses each week, we don't track them, and we need to track them because
Yeah.
I don't
You
know how
definitely need to
that
be
works.
tracking that stuff for business losses for sure.
Like when you have packages of stuff and it goes bad and you don't sell it, and that's a loss.
Yeah.
So,
That's a
yeah, we
write-off.
definitely that. Yeah, we really got. Well, let me ask you though, if you're writing it off though, that means so like when we package our stuff, we really should be going into like because we use Square and putting then that however many packages as inventory.
Yep.
That's what we should be doing. And then if you don't,
Yeah, whatever way you need to track it, like ours is just straight usage at this point, just because it's such a large number. So it's just how much you bought, how much you sold, and just what the total losses are at the end of the year. And you should have losses at the end of the year every business if you're doing it right for at least 3 years. But anyway, not tax advice by any means, but so you can go down to that if you want to write it off like that and track every single one. I would just say, hey, we started with 100 packaging. This is going to be a number. We sold 70 packaging. We have 10 packaging left. We lost 10.
Yeah.
So that way you don't have to track every single time something's wasted or anything like that.
You mean like weekly? Now, do you have to do that how do you show that to the government though?
You're going to show, it's going to be just at the end of the game for the government. It's going to be top line revenue, and then all the stuff that you can take off down to the end, what your net positive negative is. So good time to buy everything for your business is at the end of the year.
Yeah.
If you got anything you need to buy, so you can write it all off. You want to make sure you're keeping track of everything that you're using for your business. Do you have separate business bank accounts?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of people that do not. So you definitely want that. You want as much separation as you can have.
Yes. And I also have it set up to where, well, I use Square and I have it set up to where I take like 10% of each sale because our stuff is non-taxable, but I put it in it goes automatically in a tax folder, account just in case.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but you'll have the business taxes that you'll need to write all that stuff off on. So.
Yeah, that's not what I'm
that
not
corporate
looking
tax.
to.
That corporate tax. So, are you incorporated or sole proprietor?
No, incorporate LLC.
Okay.
Yep.
S corp or C corp taxing?
You know what? I was looking for that. I'm not quite sure. I got to go because we went through LegalZoom and did our whole thing through LegalZoom.
Yeah.
And I went on like a couple months ago looking to find. I'm gonna have to reach out to them because I am not exactly sure what I am, an S or a C.
Typically, you want to be an S, from my experience. Again, not tax advice. Read into yourself, but for the size that we're at, even it's S corp for us.
Okay.
Your C corp would start being, your top tier, your above company, and if you want to get into layers of companies down the road, whatever. But typically, you want to shoot for an S corp. It's going to give you the best protection.
Okay. Yeah.
From my untrained, slightly going to be a tax accountant training, but way back in the day. So, but yeah, so check that. Make sure you got that. That's great that you got it though, because I've talked to a lot of people that are not, and they're just running it as a sole proprietor, and that's just not good.
No, and we, even like us, we got insurance, I mean, insurance really isn't that expensive. We go through Flip, and
Yeah,
it's $35 a month.
yeah,
It's cheap.
it's very cheap. It's for the protection, very cheap.
Yeah, and that's what stinks because I know we're like I know a lot of these vendors we're doing markets at, they're not following any of the rules. They're just waiting to get caught. They don't get the permits. They don't get, we do. We go get our permits.
Because you're
We
a
do all
legit
that.
business.
Yeah. Yep. So
There's the difference. Well, good. Glad you got that. So if you need any help with that stuff, we can kind of help, but it obviously would not be on tax stuff. It would not be anything set in stone. I can't
yeah,
give you tax
no,
advice or anything like that, but we can help, but I can't tell you what to do.
yeah. Well,
We want you
I
to we want you not to give the government any money if you don't have to.
well, I like that. So I totally support that.
This year
And
we're probably going to show a profit just because you want to show a profit every once in a while.
yeah.
So we're
Well,
finishing our fourth year, so
that's what I mean, we should show a loss, especially if
yeah,
I gotta get with somebody like all the money I put into the business.
yeah,
That's a loss on the business because they owe us all that
yeah.
money.
It's owner's capital is what it would be underneath. So
Uh-huh.
then you can, when the business starts making money, you can draw that amount out that wouldn't be taxable then, as long as you're keeping track of it in there and you're putting it in the right category. So then,
But this is where we have to get with somebody and
yeah,
make sure we're doing the right thing,
yeah,
set
put it
it
in the
up the
right
right way.
category. That way, the business will owe you that money back, and then you won't be taxed because it won't be a payment to you. It'd be getting your investment back.
Okay.
So it's all
Works
about
for me.
category and put things right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, a
And
good
this
tax
is
professional will be saving you a lot of money. They're worth their money.
well, right. And I know that because there's a lot of stuff that we don't know. And this is our first, well, it's not my first foray into owning a business. I owned a business years ago. But I I forgot more than, you know, I,
Of
I
course.
care to remember. It was 20 years ago. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's been a while. A lot
yeah,
of things have changed.
yeah. And especially different state, there's different rules and
Yeah.
they make it really difficult. Oh, they even the county I live in just came out, just like out of nowhere. They came out and said, "Up, you gotta pay $200 for a food sampling permit now." It's like, what is that going to do? Like
Yeah.
my 200, but that's just like money grab. That's all
Yep.
that is. Like,
Yeah, that's us here. We have to pay for sampling license. Now, when we go like to the expo pays for everybody to do it.
right,
So you don't. It's
right.
part of our fees, so you don't have to get a separate thing. But you still have to do the stuff that through the health department and make sure they know you're doing it and get your permits and all that stuff. But it's through them, so you don't have to do it. If we wanted to sample at every farmer's market through the summer, we'd have to pay for it. Same. I think
Well, we
it's.
have
I think it's almost. It might be 200 here. It was. Yeah, I think it's 200.
it's ridiculous,
Yeah.
man.
Before
The
COVID, you could do whatever you wanted.
really,
Yeah, they didn't have a sampling license.
and yeah, well, we have even though we're in the county and you got to have a $200 sampling permit, our steady market that we go, they have their own health department, so we don't have to follow the county.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you follow them
Then yeah,
because
they supersede
and
it. Yeah.
yeah, and they don't lot. I have said this before, like the freeze dried fruit. We sell freeze dried fruit, and the market that we sell it at considers it cottage law. The county, I spoke to her, she does not consider it cottage law. And I'm like, you have dried herbs on there. What is the difference?
Yeah.
Like dried fruit, dried herbs. What's the difference?
Seems like the same
So
thing.
it is. Well, that's what, the Sugarland was like, oh, yeah, that's cottage law. I was like, great. We'll just sell it there.
Nice.
So,
Good. Well, as we wrap up here, Jeff,
yeah,
is there anything else that we can go over to help you
I
out?
can't think of anything right now. I
Mhm.
I, I do want to, like Kelly and I will do a follow up with that place and maybe probably go bring them some more samples,
Yep.
different stuff and go from there and see what we could do.
Yeah, definitely do the follow up on that. That's where you're gonna make your money. Follow up.
and and start looking towards a tax professional and do better record keeping because yeah, before it gets too out of control.
Yeah, it becomes a
So
monster if you let it grow.
yep.
Right now it's just a
So
little baby, so don't let
yep.
it grow to the monster
Yep.
for sure.
So, but no, I appreciate the time, Mike.
Yep. Again, we'll meet again in about 30 days. Go over stuff. Hopefully, by the time we meet again, you have that at least that one
Yeah.
assistant living place,
Yep.
and then maybe all 7 of them that they're in. So
That'd be great.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
So
And if you do get
yeah.
all that, make sure you put it in the community so we can celebrate you.
Yeah, I will. Oh,
So
100%.
awesome.
So,
All right, Jeff. You need
hey,
anything in the meantime, you know how to get a hold of me. You can DM me, do whatever, and we'll help you out.
all right. Appreciate it, Mike.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
You too. See
See
ya.
you.